Elections Debate Group, NEDG. The presidential debates are designed to present to the Nigerian electorate an opportunity to have first-hand information on the plans of presidential and vice presidential candidates. The debates will feature presidential and vice presidential candidates unfolding their plans for the country and strategies for implementation before a radio and television live audience. The presidential debate candidates will speak on a number of identified areas germane to national development and the sustenance of democracy in Nigeria. The Nigerian Elections Debates Group, over the past 4 weeks, have communicated and written to the presidential candidates about the areas identified for the debate. We also have forwarded to all the invited presidential candidates the format and rules for the debate. The presidential debate series will run for 3 days in the nation's capital, Abuja, March 28, 29, and 30th, 2011. It is an issue-based and issue-driven program designed to set public agenda which may form the basis of policy formulation and direction in government. The presidential debates program is aimed at educating Nigerians on issues in the 21 elections and making debate a critical and permanent component of the democratic and electoral process in Nigeria. The Nigerian Elections Debates Group invited 8 presidential candidates, and they all have received our invitation to participate. And this in itself is a unique opportunity, and indeed the greatest opportunities for presidential candidates to address millions of Nigerians at one go on their programs and development initiatives they may have for Nigeria. Once again, I welcome you to the 2011 Nigerian Elections Debate, the presidential and vice presidential debates, while we move on now to hand over to the moderator and the panelists for the first session today. I will now proceed to hand over the envelopes containing the questions which they are seeing for the first time. Thank you.
Welcome to the 2011 presidential debate organized by the NEDG, the Nigerian Elections Debate Group, which is a coalition of Nigerian media, professional bodies, women, youth, civil society organizations, and Nigeria diaspora organizations. You only just heard from the chairman of the Nigerian Elections Debate Group, Chief Taiwo Alimi. The 2011 presidential debate is supported by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON, National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, National Orientation Agency, NOA, National Democratic Institute, NDI, the Democratic Governance for Development Project, managed by the UNDP, and the United States Commission for Presidential Debates. 8 political parties are participating, and there shall be 2 sessions of presidential debates and 2 sessions of vice presidential debates. And pairing of parties for each session of the presidential and vice presidential debate is according to the party's visibility in the House of Representatives elections for the 2011 elections. The organizers have relied strictly on the approved list of candidates issued by the Independent National Electoral Commission. As you heard from the chairman of the NEDG, the questions have been selected and processed by stakeholders that are forming the coalition of the NEDG, including market women, the media, members of civil society, and therefore they have been well processed and they reflect the issues that bother the Nigerian people and also various stakeholders. We have this evening top-of-the-range journalists and communicators who have joined us for this debate. My name is Eugenia Abu, I'm the moderator. With me, I have, and I would let them introduce themselves.
Professor Ralph Akinfeleye, Head Department of Mass Communication at the University of Lagos, Nigeria.
Ijoma Wogugu, I'm the editor of the Sunday paper with This Day newspapers.
This evening, our timekeeper is Chinomso Okafo, and she's sitting to my extreme right. There is in the auditorium a cross-section of the public which forms our audience. The audience is not allowed to interrupt, applaud, cheer, yell, or say something while the debate is on. It is my pleasure, therefore, to call on those scheduled for this debate in this session, which is the first vice presidential debate. We have the following. For Mega Progressive People's Party, Honorable Rashid A. Shitabe. Shall we welcome Honorable Rashid Shitabe for Mega Progressive People's Party. Vice Presidential Candidate for MPPP, Honorable Rashid Shitabe, is one of the debaters today. While we await him to come forward, I would like to invite Alhaji Lawal Kasim Funtua for the Social Democratic Mega Party. Alhaji Lawal Kasim Funtua for the Social Democratic Mega Party. Just to remind you again that this is the vice presidential debate, and the persons whose names I've been mentioning are vice presidential candidates for different parties. I will also like to introduce, for the United National Party for Development, Alhaji Galadima Samari. Alhaji Galadima Samari is joining us this evening and is being accompanied by an interpreter. We also have the vice presidential candidate for the National Transformation Party, Engineer Gabriel Ogbonna. Engineer Gabriel Ogbonna is the vice presidential candidate for the National Transformation Party. Would like to thank him for joining us at this NEDG 2011 Nigeria presidential election debate, and this session is for the vice president. Vice presidential candidate for the UNPD, Alhaji Galadima Samari. Alhaji Galadima Samari is for the United National Party for Development, and he is accompanied tonight by an interpreter. Would like to thank you for joining us. I'd like to greet and welcome Vice Presidential Candidate for the United National Party for Development, Alhaji Lawal Kasimu Funtua. While we await him, I'd like to again invite Vice Presidential Candidate for Mega Progressive People's Party, Honorable Rashid Shitabe.
So far, we have 2 of them on the podium. Just to remind you that in the auditorium, there's a cross-section of the public which forms our audience. The audience is not allowed to interrupt, applaud, cheer, or yell, or say anything while the debate is on. Our questions have arrived and they have been processed from the stakeholders that form the NEDG, and those who have stakeholding in the NEDG have decided that they want to know some of these answers, and they have given us these questions from the NEDG stakeholders, and we're going to put it to the vice presidential candidates for them to respond to us. Again, remember that Chinomso Okafor is our timekeeper, and she has very interesting ways of ensuring that you know that it's time to stop, very much like the traffic lights. When it's amber, it means that you have a couple of seconds. When it's red, it means that you should stop. When it's green, it means it's your turn to go. And we will be indicating to you how many minutes you have each time you are allowed to speak. 8 political parties participating, 2 sessions of presidential debates, 2 sessions of vice presidential debates, and as you heard earlier, pairing of parties for each session of the presidential and vice presidential debate is according to the party's visibility in the House of Representatives elections for the 2011 elections. I will again run through the list of participating vice presidential candidates this evening. Mega Progressive People's Party, Honorable Rashid Shitabe. Social Democratic Mega Party, Alhaji Lawal Kasimu Funtua. And the United National Party for Development, Alhaji Galadima Samari, who is already on the podium and is accompanied by an interpreter this evening. The Vice Presidential candidate for the National Transformation Party, already on the podium, Engineer Gabriel Ogbonna. I'd like to encourage the vice presidential candidates that are on the podium to show some love by shaking hands and hugging each other, perhaps as we await the others. Thank you very much indeed. Alhaji Galadima Samari and Engineer Gabriel Ogbonna. I await my producers to let me know whether the other 2 vice presidential candidates are coming up, and if they are, to bring them to the podium. And if they are not, to let us know whether we can kick off this vice presidential debate at this time. We are going to take off without the other 2 at this time, and we are hoping that perhaps the other 2 will join us as the debate gets underway. And I would like to quickly read the rules of this debate to the candidates, but before I do that, I would like our panelists to again reintroduce themselves to these vice presidential candidates for the purposes of clarity.
Again, Professor Rav Akinfeleye, the Chair, Department of Mass Communication, the University of Lagos in Nigeria. Thank you.
Ijoma Wogogo, editor of the Sunday paper, This Day newspapers.
Right. Here are the rules for this debate. Each candidate is allowed 3 minutes for opening statement. Questions are limited to the broad areas already disclosed to the candidates. Each candidate has 3 minutes to answer a question. There shall be 2 minutes allowed the other candidates for a rebuttal. The moderator can ask follow-up questions on issues raised. Profane language is strictly not allowed. Direct attacks on candidates' personality are prohibited. A high sense of decency and decorum must be maintained in the course of this debate. And candidates are allowed 2 minutes each for their closing statements. The time period allowed for questions to be answered must be strictly adhered to. We are already aware that for timing, green light will indicate start, amber means you have 30 seconds left, and red means that you should stop. I'd like to get quickly to the question that is bothering the minds of stakeholders of the NEDG and Nigerians. The office of Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has a lot of responsibility towards Nigeria's socio-economic growth and development. Why are you in the race for the office of Vice President? And I'd like to start with Alhaji Galadima Samari, but I would also like to find out where his interpreter is so we can hear him loud and clear when he has spoken. Would like to start with Alhaji Galadima Samari of UNPD. Why are you in the race for the office of Vice President?
Me yasa kake neman shugabancin Nigeria wato mataimakin shugaba?
Abin da yasa
Why I'm buying for?
na kasance dan siyasa tun 1967.
I've become a politician since 1967.
Ina yaro ina participating a action group.
When I first joined Action Group,
Daga nan Allah bai kadara action group ya samu ci gaba cikin arewacin Najeriya ba.
at that time, Action Group did not make any impact in the northern part of the country.
Sai na kasance ina dan kasuwa kuma ina taba siyasa.
I became a businessman and also a politician.
Sai daga baya Allah ya kawo 1979 na joining GNPP.
At a later stage in 1979, I joined GNPP.
Kuma muka Allah ya taimake mu muka ci gwamnati na jiha
And we won the state election then
a Borno State.
in Borno State.
Bayan haka sai 83 politics sai ya zamanto tsakaninmu da federal government akwai bambancin akida.
After that, in 1983, the politics become cumbersome and there is difference between the state government and the federal government.
Sai gwamnatinmu na jiha baya samun taimako yadda zai rike rural talakawansa da al'ummansa sai ya ce
At that time, the state government cannot be able to cater for the needs of the people of the state.
sai muka ɗauki shawara muka sake koma UPN.
We resolved to revert to UPN at that time.
Muna nan sai kuma gwamnatin gaba ɗaya sai ta kasance ta samu problem, soja suka yi juyin mulki.
As a result of the politics in 1979 to 83, the military took over power.
Duk da haka ba mu hakura ba muna mun yi
Despite
kungiyoyi
that, we continue our politics
sai muka kafa People Front daga nan kuma muka koma
and
SDP.
we established the People's Front and also UNDP.
To daga nan shi ma har muka yi zaɓe ni ina ɗaya daga coordinator na presidential candidate kuma ina 5 national delegate.
We enter into election and I became one of the coordinators at that time.
Kuma ina 5 national delegate.
Chigaba.